Hello everyone, this is Jumbo Commander, and I'm back for the final installment of the Commander review for Kaladesh, and today it's colorless and multicolored cards. Dapala and Kambal and Rashmi and Dovinban and Sahili are all covered in other videos. If you click on the left, you're going to see the video about all the legends in Kaladesh, and if you click on the right, you're going to see the planeswalkers of Kaladesh. Restoration Gearsmith. 2 white black, get an artifact back to your hand, or a creature. He's a 3/3, that's way better than Gravedigger if you're in the colors. You might want to be getting back some artifacts if you're in a deck kind of like Shroom, but Shroom does it for you, so maybe this isn't your cup of tea. Unlicensed Disintegration. Another very cool name. It's kind of an inefficient kill spell. If you got an artifact, it does 3 damage to that creature's controller. I don't know why you wouldn't just play Terminate, maybe because Terminate's a little bit too expensive, but maybe you really want that 3 damage and you're running something like a Rakdos Lord of Riots deck. I don't know, it feels like there's a lot of kill spells in the world. Cloud Blazer. Here we go. 3 white blue for a 2/2 flyer. Draw 2 cards and gain 2 life ETB. Oh, get in my Brago deck. I want to flicker you over and over again and draw all the cards and gain all the life. Move over Muldrifter. This guy's some competition. Just kidding, Muldrifter. You're great. Don't change who you are, you silly fish. Blooming Marsh, Botanical Sanctum, Concealed Courtyard, Inspiring Vantage, and Spire Bluff Canal. These are the enemy fastlands guys, and they're going to be making some waves in other formats. But how do they perform in Commander? Well, in a lot of competitive decks, they're going to be a necessity, because competitive decks need to have plays on the first few turns of the game. And that's what these fastlands do. They come into play untapped during the first couple turns if they're your first, second, or third land drops. But Commander's a game that usually goes on pretty long, so I'm wondering how effective these are. The answer is that in many situations, these are no better than a guild gate. I would vastly prefer having the scry lands over these lands, or the bounce lands, or filter lands. Actually, I'd like a lot of lands over these in most of my Commander decks. Now, if these things turn out to be really cheap, let's throw them in our decks. It's going to be great. But I think I can sell some of these to some people that like Modern a lot, and I can get a lot more value in my Commander deck. What I really want them to print are like super slow lands. So they come into play tapped unless it's like your 4th or 5th land drop. And I would really like them to be fetchable. And so they'd be useless in almost every other format, like Legacy and Vintage, and all of the other formats would hate them. But Commander players would be like, oh, I have a target for my fetch land that's great if it's late game, sold. I think that those would be really cool lands, and I really wish that Wizards would make them. Oh, Inventors Fair. You're a kick-ass legendary land that looks like a circus. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control at least 3 or more artifacts, you gain 1 life. This doesn't even come into play tapped. It's an untapped, colorless land that produces colorless mana. Oh, you belong in all of our colorless decks. What else can you do? Oh, legendary land. 4 and a tap. Sacrifice it. Search your library for an artifact card. Put it into your hand. Activate this if you only control 3 or more artifacts. You get to search my deck for other artifacts? You're a legendary land too, like Thalia's Lancers, or Captain Sisay, or other legendary fetchy thingies can come and get you. You are so perfect for my Karn deck. For a lot of decks that have artifacts, you just give me advantage by gaining a life, and gaining life is good. You tap and... Oh, guys, I can't. I'm sure it's great in other decks, but I can't get over how great this is for my Karn Silver Golem deck. Etherworks Marvel, 4 mana for a legendary artifact. I like that legendary tag. It means you can grab it with all those legendary fetchy thingies. And whenever a permanent you control is put in a graveyard, get energy. 6 energy, get to look at the top 6, play a card from there. it's pretty good. Especially if you have a lot of stuff that makes energy, a lot of stuff that goes to the graveyard, or really big, cool things to cast. I know that's a lot of hoops, but I think it could be really fun. Sky Sovereign Console Flagship. 5 for a flying 6/5 that deals 3 when it attacks or ETBs. Sounds pretty good, but it has to be crewed 3. I haven't really found a home for these vehicles, and I don't know if I like them so much. Can't I just play with Inferno Titan instead? Geir Per Ori. 4 mana for an artifact that says, everyone can play an extra land, and if you have no cards in hand, draw 3 cards. That's sweet. It's mana ramp and card draw, which are 2 of the most important things in Commander, on a single artifact. This would be great if it wasn't completely symmetrical, so everyone gets mana ramp and card draw. I mean, maybe you could take more advantage of it than anyone else. Maybe it could just be group hug. You know, you pop a Feldegriff out, everyone gets to play the lands, everyone gets to draw the cards. Except for that one person, that one enemy you have, and then what you do is when they finally empty their hand, you take your Feldegriff and you're like, I will return my Feldegriff to my hand to make you draw a card, denying you the Geir Per Ori trigger. Okay, maybe that's not... some people are talking about using it in Dredge. So Dredge has a lot of ability to get cards out of your hand because it needs to fill up your graveyard. It can kind of deny you card draws by dredging instead. Just imagine kind of like Life from the Loam, where you replace the draw, you get Life from the Loam back, you get to get 1 land, maybe a couple lands. Geir Per Ori gives you the extra land drops, and then you can kind of empty your hand only to dredge again next turn. I can see how some people are kind of trying to figure out how to abuse this card. But I have solved it for you. With Midnight Oil. Ooh, I remember Midnight Oil from the Black Kaladesh Commander set review. What happens is that eventually you're going to have no maximum hand size, even though you'll draw an extra card. So you'll discard a hand size of 0, whatever. And then at the beginning of your next turn, a few things will happen. You will draw a card from Midnight Oil, draw 3 cards from Geir Per Ori, and you'll draw your card for the turn. That's 5 cards! It's so great! Next up, we have Flux Reservoir, and it's just a little old 4-mana artifact. And whenever you cast a spell, you gain a life for each spell you cast this turn. You know, for all those Karlov decks, you know, gain a life, add a counter. Maybe you've got an Archangel of Thune, add +1/+1 counters to your team. Maybe you have a Well of Lost Dreams, and you just draw a few cards. See, it's really fair until you realize that there's a second one. Pay 50 life, deals 50 damage to target creature or player. 50 damage! By the way, I'd love the situation where you do 50 damage to a creature. That sounds spectacular. 50 life! 50 damage! This thing goes crazy. I mean, you get up to 50 with Oloro pretty quickly. Now, I don't think that you're just going to go like pa 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 and just kill people. But when you have the ability on the battlefield to just kill anyone at instant speed, are you ever going to get attacked? Is anyone ever going to do anything bad to you? Ever. I mean, it's just such a powerful threat of activation. And one thing I want to pay attention to is whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. So something like Mizzix, and I'm not suggesting that it goes in the Mizzix deck, but if you're storming off, it's kind of like a life storm. So you cast 1 spell, you gain 1 life. You cast your second spell, you'll gain 2 life for a total of 3 life that turn. And it kind of builds on itself. So if you do have the ability to storm off, you might be able to gain some significant amounts of life. You can also make this downside hurt a little less with something like Children of Colorless, where you pay 50 life and then you gain it right back again. Or maybe something even better like Tainted Sigil. Sacrifice the sigil, you gain life equal to the total life lost by all players this turn. So you paid 50 life, so you lost 50 life, and then you did 50 damage. That's so much life gain, and then you can just go pachoo pachoo and do it again. I mean, That's pretty much the sound that Flux Reservoir makes. It's like ba-choo, ba-choo, as you like destroy your opponents. This card is sweet. Panharmonicon. This 4-mana artifact does nothing and everything at the exact same time. If an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. ETBs times 2. It's just insane. I mean, think of your Brago deck. My Brago deck has over a quarter of the spells have great ETBs, and now they all are going to happen twice. It's crazy face. Mirren. My Mirren deck has tons of enter the battlefield effects. It's just Panharmonicon's going to happen over and over and over again. It's... Rune? I mean, let's just make one thing clear. Purphoros. Purphoros. So, not only are you going to have your ETB triggers happen from the creatures, but Purphoros is going to trigger twice too. So, let's say a Siege Gang commander, perhaps. Oh, dear God. Normally, that'd be a great card with Purphoros on the battlefield. You'd do 8 to your opponents and you'd be like, yeah, I'm winning. But with Panharmonicon out, you'll make 1 Siege Gang commander and that will produce 6 tokens. Oh my gosh. That's 7 different ETB triggers from Purphoros, who doesn't do 14 but does 28 instead. The math is insane. This card will cause so much trouble. Hey everyone, this has been Jumbo Commander with a Kaladesh set review. This concludes all of the cards. We did the legends, the planeswalkers, all the colors, Wooburg, up to the colorless artifacts, and I had a really great time. Hopefully we discovered a lot of cool cards found in Kaladesh and we can start brewing with them. I know of all of them, it actually kind of shows like my mindset and how dorky I am. I'm like so excited for that Inventors Fair colorless tapping land. That's like the one that I care about more than anything else. But hopefully there was something in here for all of you, and I really hope that you guys make some awesome Kaladesh Commander decks. Thanks for watching, guys.